Hey folks, I just wanted to run through some of the quiz. Ooh, wow. Sorry if there's a bit of an echo. I'm recording from a different room this time around. Let's see, so this is the overview for quiz 6. Again, covering pretty much the 2 weeks of material after the quiz 5 material. So if you're having a look through the course stuff, it's pretty much everything from hash tables through pointers and blocks and selection and iteration up to the material on variadic functions in C and C++ and macros and higher order functions. So this is coming up on April 9th. Usual rules, available 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Nanaimo time. You have to finish by 7 p.m. You've got 50 minutes to complete it, plus that 5-minute grace period. And again, there might be variations of some of the questions, but the content should be pretty close. It'll be the same style as the last couple, where we're going through and it's 5 questions, 10 marks each. And again, it'll be a mix of theory and discussion style of questions. So some written questions, and there'll certainly be some chunks where you're particularly reading and modifying C or C++ code, or comparing C code and Lisp code, or Lisp and C++, or C and C++, or looking at pseudocode. And again, the idea is looking at different features across the different languages, thinking about implementation aspects, thinking about how these things work, looking at what it means for the programmer. So again, the topics are pretty much hash tables, pointers and the implications of those, operators and precedence and associativity, blocks and entry points and exit points, selection, so single way, multi-way, looking at things like switch statements and whatnot, the different forms of iteration, so our typical loops, including the things like for each loops, labels, so the labels and conditionals and go-tos or branches, so looking at conditional branches, looking at jumps, looking at kind of the structure of how the different loops might be implemented behind the scenes. Then getting into subroutines and parameters and all of the different scoping issues and the different parameter passing mechanisms, and again, some of the implications in terms of how this might be built and what kind of an impact it has on the programmer. And then getting into things like the variadic functions, and of course we've seen that in Lisp, and now we're seeing sort of how to handle that in C and C++ using either things like the stdr macros in C, or using the templated functions in C++, looking at higher order functions, again comparing the kind of approach you might take in something like Lisp to what you might do in C or C++ using function pointers, and then expanding that in C++ with the templated function pointers. Getting into macros a bit, and again, a bit of a compare and contrast. What's available in Lisp, what's available in C, what's available in C++, because they are quite different. So looking at the sort of hash-defined macros versus the C++ templates versus the Lisp macros. So again, you need to be able to kind of look at code in each of the languages and think about the implementations in each of the languages and some of the issues that crop up with that. All right, usual quiz rules. It all has to be your own work. Cite anything that you use that didn't come out of your own head or out of your own notes. And again, no communication with anybody else, whatever form that might take, until after the exam period is over, so after 7 p.m. that night. So I think that's pretty much the idea. Usual sort of technical help if any issues crop up. And as always, if something goes wrong and you can't finish on time, or you're not able to complete it, or you're not able to take it that day for some reason, just get in touch with me and we'll work out some kind of alternative arrangements. We can always make it work. All right, I think that's all of the key points. I will leave it there.